Okay, so hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Authentic You podcast. I am very excited to have the lovely Sam here with me today. So I will let Sam introduce himself in a moment. But what I want to say is Sam and I connected over TikTok. I think in the early days we were both on there and we connected and just really resonated. And yeah, so I invited Sam to come on the podcast today because I think Sam's got some amazing stuff to share that I think will resonate with a lot of our listeners. So very warm welcome to the podcast, Sam. We'd love to hear a little bit about you.
Cool. Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name's Sam. What do I do? What do I do?
You do, Sam.
I don't know. I be myself. That's it, really. But yeah, no. Like Gemma said, we connected over TikTok. Can't remember how long ago now. I've been on TikTok for about just under 2 years. Yeah, something like that. And amassed a good collective of people, which is really nice. And I'm just showing people how to navigate being, I don't know, empathic, if you want to call it that, or navigate being yourself in this tumultuous sort of topsy-turvy world, and helping humanity sort of like, I don't know, come back to some sort of balance. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I do, really.
I love that. And you're joining us from a retreat pod today. Would you like to tell us more about that and what led to your journey of living in a retreat pod? We'd love to know more.
Well, as it would appear, didn't set out this way, but yeah, it appears that I'm sort of a bit of a nomad, really. I'm known as the nomad in my friend group, really, because I just dot about all over the place and go with the flow and go wherever the divine wants me to be best placed to sort of help people. You know, it would seem anyway, that's the sort of thing. But the last 6 months before I stayed here, I was in a caravan on my friend's land. That ended quite abruptly. Needed to get out of there due to energy imbalances and things like that. And then I asked my friend Alex if I could come down and stay at his retreat place, basically. So this is the pod that I'm staying in at the moment. It's not mine. Nothing belongs to me in my body. But this is where I'm at for the time being, basically. And I sort of work on the land here, helping Alex set it up as a bit of a self-sufficient place. And this is where I'm realizing that I'm going to be sort of learning lessons and building skills here to be able to sort of take elsewhere. Big ringing in the right ear. Yeah, that's obviously what I'm doing. So yeah, we're sort of like building a yurt. We're going to be putting up a polytunnel. We're going to be sort of like potentially holding retreats here and things, but on a very small scale at first. Just finding our feet with it all and seeing where we go, really. But that's how I ended up here. But it's beautiful. It's an absolutely stunning place. Like, yeah, no. So I connected with Alex, who lives up in the big house, basically, after when I was in the pit of my dark period, basically, which is a prerequisite, as people will know. People might be in it right now, suffering. Don't worry, it changes, it gets better. You know, when I say it gets better, it gets more challenging before it gets better, but then it gets better. But yeah, I came down here and I was in absolute pieces. You know, my old relationship broke down with the mother of my child as well, which was the hardest thing that I had to make a choice on. But it was almost like spirit was going like, you're going this way and you've got there's no way that you're not doing this. I'm going to make your life really hard, really misaligned, so that you basically end up in a place of being alone, so that you can go inside of yourself and have that time for yourself, really, so that then you can come out of it, bloom, and then show other people how to be their authentic self, if you want to call it that. So that's how I ended up here, basically. But it was really lovely being with Alex because we are on very much the same vibration and you can feel it. We lift each other up rather than draining us, draining each other as it happens at the last place I was at and things. But notice the energy, people. If the energy's off, flow the other way.
Everything is energy. Yeah, if it feels off, it is off.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah,
so sounds like you've had a very sounds like you've had a very similar journey to me, Sam, and I certainly, resonate with that like, you get the white feathers and then the brick will come and then the universal dump truck will come and just like push you out of a situation. And I don't know if you know, but I lived in a caravan for 5 months as well when I went through my divorce. So caravan friends.
Uh-huh. Hey.
Yeah.
You don't
So
have, gypsy blood in your bloodline at all, do you?
I do
No?
actually, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Way,
me
way
too. There
back
you go.
Spanish gypsies, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
There we go. That's obviously why we ended up back in the caravans. Do some ancestral healing while we're there. Yeah,
Yeah,
love
totally,
that.
totally, mate. Love it.
So, okay, so what's interesting then, which I feel we need to talk about here, is that, if we get the nudges, and then, our life will, kind of push us into alignment, and we have to listen to that energy as well. So what what I loved is when you said that, you were in your darkest place, and then, the universe kind of like pushed you and has guided you, and you follow where the divine takes you. So what advice would you give to anyone listening who might be in their darkest place, or who might be actually, I know a lot of people who like are getting that universal dump truck right now, and they're not acting on it. So what advice would you give them for like a little bit of bravery and courage to get into alignment?
Get into alignment. Just like focus on the energy. Don't focus so much on the story of what's occurring. Like if you're feeling uncomfortable in a place and you're not feeling aligned, or you're not feeling as though the energy is reciprocal or whatever it is, listen to that. Energy does not lie. Words, people, all these things, they talk. But if they're talking and not acting on what it is they're saying, or whatever it is, don't deny yourself that. Like, listen to that. Don't listen to that. Feel that. Feel what the energy is saying within you, and go with the flow, and you will always be looked after, because the universe is always, always, even in my darkest moments. Now, when I look back on it, I can see that it was all happening for me, everything. But I was, all the suffering that was created, I created because I was trying to stay in a place that wasn't me anymore. It's inauthentic. It's not yourself. And the universe is always, always, even if it's like, cluster bombing your life with loads of rubbish and shit, just go with the flow of it. Okay. You have to, because it's for you. Everything's happening for you, and it's not getting your sort of like monkey mind involved, where it's going like, yeah, but it's comfortable there and I'm making money there, and all of that stuff does not matter one jot. If you're not happy in yourself and you're not listening to yourself, then the universe knows that, and that's why it's always trying to push you into your highest. So don't lose faith, don't lose hope. Go with the flow, feel the energy of what's occurring. And yeah, it may be uncomfortable for a long time. It may be uncomfortable for months and months and months. I stayed in a place, oh man, like after I did a certain ceremony, like that really said to me that you can't be with the people that you're with anymore, because they're in a different, not better, worse, they're in a different state of consciousness to you. And if you're to stay small and play around and go back onto antidepressants and do what all these people are wanting you to do, you're not going to be you at the end of the day. So you have to listen to your heart. Your heart is always guiding you to that, but it will be hard. But through those challenges, that's where you find out who you truly are. So listen. I got to get that word out of my thing. That stop thinking, stop listening, and feel what is happening around you, because the feeling of it is the truth. It does not lie, and it's always trying to pull you to your highest good. So just go with the flow.
Maybe we should make up a new word, like a feeling listen, like listen.
Yeah. Yeah, listen. Yeah, listen
We
to
all need to
it.
listen. Yeah, because it is listening, but it's listening to energy, isn't it? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I talk a lot about like body truth, and I think one of the things that, like, I wasn't aware of what that meant for me at the time. I was like, what does that mean? How will I know? And one of the ways that I knew was when I thought back to when I did something that turned out right. So when I thought back to that feeling of that thing I did that turned out right, it was like, oh, like expansive, open. It was like, oh yes. And then when I think about things that I've done that I might have like said were like lessons and weren't necessarily the right thing, my body feels like really constricted. So I can sort of like, I could access that feeling by looking back on it and going, how did I feel when that happened? And yeah, like same as you, when I left and I moved into I lived on a farm first. I lived on a goat farm before I lived in the caravan. I think my family thought like, what is happening to Gemma? She's run away to a goat farm. Now she's living in a caravan. Like, what is going on? But that just felt so expansive. Like my whole body was like, yes, oh,
Yeah.
freedom. Like just, yeah, we just, your body's always telling you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the fact of just, it's only something that can be that you intuitively learn along the journey of whatever it is with flowing with that energy, and at first it feels really uncomfortable because it's new, it's exciting, it's scary, it's all these things. But at the end of the day, like, through looking back on your life and going like, God, yeah, look, it was always trying to do that. And like, we have to get this story about ourselves sort of like out of our own heads. It's like, the healing journey and all this sort of things. It's just a story that we've created about ourselves that we then believe in, and that becomes our reality. But it's like, your reality can be whatever you want it to be. And that feeling, that expansiveness that you talk about, that's it. It's like, wow, I feel free here, I feel open, I feel love for myself and everybody around me. That doesn't lie. Do you know what I mean? And it's just flowing with that. And then when you look back on your life and you go, it was always trying to get me to my highest place, and I was trying to resist it. And in the resistance, I created all the suffering. Whereas if I just let go and surrendered to this process, most of which I think we have a choice in, because it's like the universe goes, right, okay, well, just like a pendulum, isn't it? We all think good, bad, and it's swinging from left to right, good to bad, good to bad, good to bad, good to bad. And it's like, well, if the pendulum's swinging into the bad times, it will get so uncomfortable before we then make a turn. And that's our conscious choice in that, is to go, okay, I don't want to suffer anymore. So then it's like, that's how the universe works. And there's the people who are in the victim mindset or whatever it is, they haven't reached that stage of consciousness where you're able to see that everything is happening for you. So it's like they stay in it and their life gets worse and worse, and they complain and bitch and moan. And it's just like, keep doing that. Keep doing that, because it's only your journey, and it's the universe going like, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, turn around right now. Here we go. Now we can start going into the good again, or the good, the flow of life. That's a better way of phrasing it, isn't it? But is always trying to get it. But once you realize that whatever is uncomfortable, or if something feels off with somebody, listen to it, really feel it. So we're going to be saying that a lot in this podcast, I feel.
Yeah, we need to get that flissen word in, I think, into the dictionary.
Yeah, listen to your feelings. Yeah.
I'm sure there might be another word that's better. That was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, we'll
I am
work
very
on
random.
it.
We get these like random nuggets of things that I say, and I think, why did I say that? And I'm like, all right, let's just go with it.
Yeah.
So what I love is you talked about the victim mindset in there, and that was something that I think a lot of us have had to go through and transform on that journey of like, it's happening for me, not it's happening to me. And one thing that I found I was doing is I brought out the old victim triangle, like with myself, because what I found was happening was that I was constantly rescuing myself, rather than like relying on the rescuer to come in and rescue me. I was rescuing myself. I was having to like constantly pull myself like out of this pit. And then I was like, hang on a minute, like there's something going on here. So I sort of pulled out the triangle, and then I realized it was just all about a boundary. And if I had the boundary in place, I didn't fall into the victim, then I didn't need to rescue myself. So for anyone listening that's kind of becoming aware of that, what advice would you say to them for, starting to move from that space of it's happening to me to it's happening for me?
I would say to them to, yeah, like I say, when you start to love yourself and you start to respect who you are, then you start to set boundaries, with people. And that's something, as people pleasers, empaths, mainly it's due, I understand why it is, because when we were younger, we were always very sensitive to what's going on around us. We're sensing the energy. We had to make sure mum was okay. We had to make sure dad was okay, whoever it is. You go into jobs, okay, how are they feeling today? And you're always very thin, but you're doubting your own energy, really. So what we need to do is to really sort of like, right, what do I deserve in this situation? And it's like, do I deserve to be treated like this? Do I deserve to have a load of people projecting their stuff onto me? No. Okay. So, there's a big deal at the moment with sort of like the narcissist empath sort of like dynamic to all this. All of that is a fantastic learning tool for us. you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't take offense to anybody doing it anymore, because you know that, I mean, I asked myself about 3 years ago, shit, am I a narcissist? Like, am I going around to thinking? From that moment on, everything started to change, because I actually admitted certain things because of the families that we come from, because of the controlling behavior that has been passed down through generations. None of it's good or bad, it just is. But if you accept it and you allow it, and you then only through that acceptance of it can you do something about it and change it. So it's like a lot of people are going through this right now, where they're struggling with it and they're trying to deny to themselves that they're these people, or that they have these tendencies and things. And it's very uncomfortable for other people who have sort of like admitted it and started to begin to heal this, you know. But again, you can only change what you accept at the end of the day. And from my family, yeah, my mother had narcissistic tendencies. Do you know what I mean? And then that's been passed down to us. But as we're the people who have come down into these family units to burn that ancestral line, what it is for us to take the responsibility of that and transmute it, you know? And you can only do that through admitting it. So like this dynamic between narcissists and empaths, when you get to a certain healed state, then the universe will bring certain people who have these tendencies into your life to be able to reflect to you how you can't heal this without them people. And everyone's just like, oh, terrible, the narcissist and thing. No. It's all happening for you. It's all happening for you, you know? So it's like a lot of people right now, they don't like me because I'm being my authentic self, or I'm being what I think is of my authentic self. I'm happy. I'm always trying to lift others up. I'm trying to positively reaffirm to everybody who they truly are and what their potential is. And they're unhappy with themselves. So what they're doing is they project onto me. But right now, because of the last like 3 relationships that I've had, like my ex-partner, who I stayed with up at the caravan, and like my mother to a certain degree as well, you know, as I've started to set firm boundaries with them and say, no, you won't treat me like that, you'll get a lot of shit from them. You will get a lot of shit from them, because they will not like you when you start setting firm boundaries and go, no, you won't control me anymore, because they feed off that control. But that's a really good thing for us, because what we can do is then go, whoa, I stood up for myself there. I set a firm boundary. And they will always, when you set a firm boundary with them, they will deny it. They will play victim with it, and they will do all these sorts of things to try and get out of the fact of admitting to themselves, when actually what they need to do in that situation is go, oh yeah, that was something within me that I think, and I admit that now. Great, let's all run together in the field. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of thing, you know. But a lot of people are so struggling because they believe that they are these identities that they've given themselves, you know. Oh no, the parent thing. It's all just been passed down to us, and now it's our time to transmute that energy. And the only way that we can do that is if we're honest with ourselves about it. If you're not honest with yourself, you'll get put into another relationship to show you these tendencies about yourself. Do you know what I mean? But I cottoned onto it quite early on my journey. And then from that, you're able to change it. Then you can do something about it. But yeah, like I say, it's all happening for us. It's all happening for us at the end of the day. Taking offense to it and all the rest of it. Now I can sit back and I can observe it. And yeah, if that means that the best way to love somebody is to write them off, and not write them off, but sort of like block them out of your life. If they're continuing to be really negative, if they're continuing to like forcefully try and change you and control you, bye-bye. For now, at least, bye-bye. You know, I don't want that energy in my life anymore, because I'm starting to love who I am. This is the process of self-love. They're there to help us realize this. And we're also there to help them realize it to themselves as well. You know, and that's the beautiful play about it all. And that's why I'm just like, cool, if you know, and this is another thing with resistance, you know, it's just like if your situation is bad or you don't like your job, it's exactly the same with other people. If these people are meant to be in your life and they're good for you, you'll feel it. If they're not good for you and you're meeting resistance with them, please don't resist them leaving. Everyone's like, oh, but I've got to keep everybody right and I've got to keep everybody else safe and all the rest of it. Let them go. It's okay. It might not be forever. It might be forever. Some people are there for a season. Some people are there for 2 minutes. Other people are there for a lifetime. You'll realize that in this, you know, but it's just that setting boundaries. What happens? Okay, they don't like that. Right. Okay. I'm going to respect myself here, and I'm going to take myself out of this situation. And believe me, I had to leave a lot of situations. I've had to pack up many, many times in the last few years to protect my own energy and respect myself, you know, and unconditionally love them as well, you know. It's like ex-partner. sorry, I've got a lot to say on this. But it's my ex-partner, you know, when I left, she was the one who actually said to me, like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry that we've had to leave it like this and all the rest of it, almost like in a kind of passive aggressive way to say, like, oh, no, I want to stay here. And I just went, no problem at all. I love you unconditionally. Okay. I'll pack up all my stuff and I'll leave. Thank you very much. You know, thank you for these lessons. And when you say thank you for lessons, they go like, who the do you think you are? You know, and it's just like, no, I'm actually being genuinely honest. Thank you. Without this, I wouldn't have learned this self-respect. I wouldn't have learned this self-love, because that was a compromising shadow side of myself. I would give too much of myself away. So thank you very much for it. And again, we think it's all patronizing, but it's not. It's not. It's just genuinely being you, isn't it? You know.
I love that. And I love that you said respect, because this was a bit of an aha moment I had recently, was like the difference between respecting myself and loving myself were quite different. And you said about people, you know, lifetime, season, reason, lifetime, whatever it is, and then the 2-minute thing. You saw that interaction that happened on TikTok the other day. I've actually now blocked that guy. I can't think of the point I was trying to make. Oh, what was the point? I can't remember. But he was one of those 2-minute ones where I sort of, that was it, the respect, because I thought, actually, I'm now disrespecting myself by continuing this conversation. And it's actually more respectful for him as well to just let this go. Just respect that both of us have got a different opinion, although he was being quite abusive. So like, but okay, different opinion. Actually, it's quite respectful to let that go. And also, sometimes we're not, like you say, unconditionally loving people, are we, if we don't actually step out of their lives and step back, because that gives them the space to heal. If they're constantly, you know, if we're the fixers, which a lot of us are, you know, then they're constantly looking for us to fix everything for them. Or even just energetically, you know, they're feeding off our energy because they don't have their own source connection. And the most kindest thing we can do, and the most loving thing we can do, is step away and out of that, so they have the ability to really heal and connect themselves, if that's what they're here to do.
Yeah, totally. And it's almost like we can become enablers, isn't it, for those tendencies or whatever it is. And actually, like, as the Tao goes and big into the sort of Taoism sort of principles, because it's just going back to nature, you know, don't force anything. We don't need to, you know, and there's this inbuilt sort of like tendency within empaths to be able to, oh, I want to be the savior mentality. Do you know what I mean? Of all these people, I've got to save everybody. Good luck trying to save everybody. Like, the best thing, and that's it, is this idea that I have to force change in the world. You don't. You have to be authentically yourself in whatever way that looks like. Speak your truth. If people don't like that, that's fine. It's up to them, you know. But if they're still showing you a lot of aggressiveness or passive aggressivity or whatever it is, ta-ta, you know. Good luck on your journey. You know, I wish you all the best, and I really do. And with all these people that I've come into contact with and I've had these lessons with, you know, when I've left, I've gone, all I do is run through my mind, and I picture the really nice times that we had together. Do you know what I mean? And I go, that's who you are. Because they're believing that they're not wanting to go near that place of darkness. They're not wanting to fall into that pit. But actually, that's the best thing. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people like masking a lot of things with like drugs or alcohol or eating or whatever it is to stop them going into that pit. They're doing that all the time. And you can feel it doing that all the time. And what actually needs to happen for these people to create real change, that's what happened to me. I had to fall down deeper than I'd ever been before. Did it hurt? Yeah, it was the most horrendous time of my life. What did I learn out of that? Everything. I learned what I wasn't, you know, but I had to go down to that place, and everybody's trying, no, I'll just stay above. That's how I picture it. People, it's okay, I'm all right. And it's just like, just sink. That part of you has to die. That part of you that is hanging on and gripping on for dear life has to sink down, and it has to drown for you to then be reborn as who you truly are, you know. And the best way to do that as empaths or like healers, just let them go, you know. Don't have any contact with them. Let them go into their own minds and deal with it themselves, you know. That's where the power lies, within them. And that's what I do with people on my calls. That's how I help people on my TikTok, is just go, look, sometimes we just have to surrender completely to whatever it is, to get rid of this false identity that has been put in front of us that is not us, that's not making us happy. And people go like, no, we need to help them and do that. You can't. The best thing you can do, let them fall down. Oh, I hurt my knee. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's it. Get back up. Right. What did you learn? Well, I think don't fall over. It doesn't. You can't do that. It's like what our parents did all with us, trying to keep you safe all the time. Stop. Oh, don't run over there. Stop doing that. What do you do when you fall over? Oh God, that hurt. Right. Okay, I'm not going to do that again now. You know what I mean? It's like it's the whole same process within raising children, or like, you know, all of this mentality is that let them fall. Let them fall. It's the most compassionate thing you can do, because you're the only one who can sort you out. And that's what I realized in my journey.
I love that. I love that analogy of, the child falling. I certainly had the like cotton wool parenting. So yeah, kind of, had to rewrite all those patterns myself. So yeah, really resonate with that. And I feel there's something in here about also an acceptance of what's the word I would use for it? Almost like a hibernation phase as well. Like as we let people go and we start to go down into those depths, there is an isolation that we have to go into, I feel, with that needs to be accepted, because like this is kind of what's coming through for me here. It sounds like you've had this journey. I know I've had this journey, and I feel like this is almost resisted a bit in that, that whole, social connection is good for us. It is. And there is that element of like isolation that we need to heal as well. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, totally. And that's what the universe is trying to do. We resist it, going into that isolation phase or the hermit mode or whatever it is, and I've gone through so much. I spend a lot of time by myself, and especially over these last 3 years, I've like days on end, I wouldn't go and see anybody. I wouldn't even think to ring anybody to go for a walk or anything. I'd just go out on my own. Do you know what I mean? It's really nice that I have Alex now, like Alex and I have each other, because like we're at exactly the same point in our life. Do you know what I mean? The exactly same point of healing, and we resonate really well. So it's lovely to have a compadre, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's there doing it with us as well, especially through a fast or anything like that, which we did just before New Year. That was really, really poignant for me. But yeah, it's a part of the phase, and like everybody's going like, oh, I need this connection all the time to keep me busy, keep my mind active. What we need to do, well, the universe knows this, God, universe, Tao, whatever you want to call it, wants us to go into this place of isolation, because it's only there when you can sit with yourself, sit silently, and just eke out who you truly are. What do you really want? What is it that is trying to come to the forefront, that when you're busying yourself with other people all the time, that you can't quite get to? And I think a lot of them, my friends on the journey, everybody's trying to search for like a soulmate or whatever it is. I've let go of all of that entirely, because you can feel the energy of that neediness, that sort of like, you're going to complete me and you're going to sort my life out and all of it. Nah, mate, you are. Only when you've found that love for yourself going within with that isolation, can you truly give that love honestly to other people. Without that, you can't. It's an impossible thing, but you've got to know yourself first and foremost. And that's why, don't resist this. If anybody's going through this right now and you're feeling alone and lost and all the rest of it, get comfortable with who you are, yourself. Trust me, the universe, you can't see it all happening at the moment, and don't precede this idea that you're going to be alone forever. It's wanting you to go deep within yourself so that you can be yourself for other people and not be this mask anymore that's just holding up. And because it's tiring. It's so tiring. It requires so much energy to be a false version of yourself, and it's wanting you to like flop about like a child and like be your natural self and not give a shit what anybody else thinks about you. That's what the universe is trying to do. Again, it's all good. So don't resist anything. Feel the energy. Don't resist anything.
Don't resist it. I love it. Makes me want to flop about like a child now. I'm just gonna do that. I've got my My Little Pony top on today, so with it.
I watch my daughter doing it. I get so much like, my daughter's just coming up 3 now, and I observe her, and she's just like, legs stretched all over the place, arms all over the place, just drop stuff wherever. She didn't give a shit, you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, class, like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? I just follow her around, you know? And it's like, you learn so much. It's almost like this idea in Western society is just like, yes, you've got to show children how to be. It's the opposite, man. We've got to be observing them. We've got to be observing the old people who don't give a shit about anything. And they're just like, I can do whatever I want because I'm me. If you don't like it, then you don't have to be in my life. And the kids are exactly the same, you know? But we're going like, we're the adult ones. But it's been said, you know, in like Western culture society, the average age, the average true mental age of an adult who isn't awakened and isn't, you know, sort of who's still subservient and all this sort of thing, is about the age of a 12-year-old, you know, and it's almost like the roles have been reversed between parent and child, you know, and the people who have decided to really consciously become aware of themselves. And I find that quite an interesting fact, really, you know. If it is in fact, I don't know. It's all statistics, but there you go. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Fascinating, isn't it? Because the children really do naturally know. And when you said about, you know, your daughter on the floor, like that to me is like she knows how to somatically release from her body.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly
what she's doing. She's doing like a somatic release. And
Yeah.
like how you know, how many times do we get told like, oh, you know, you shouldn't, good girls don't behave like that, or you know, and then we have to like relearn all those things. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Says who? This is a completely subjective reality. Morality is completely subjective, and culture, as it is, has told us that you have to be this way, or you have to do something. Don't wear your hat at the dinner table. Why? What? Where has that come from? Do you know what I mean? Don't sing at the dinner table. Why not? Like, you know, why not? You know, and I remember being a kid actually, sat at the dinner table, and I'd be eating there, and I was just like, don't hum at the table. I'm just like, why? You know, and they're going like, because you just don't. And I was like, no, that's not an answer. Like, why? Why are you not allowed to do it? Well, because somebody told me that you weren't allowed to do it. That's the answer to it. All right, where did that come from? Well, it's tradition. And it's like, where did tradition come from? It's all conditioning, you know? And it's like, now what we're doing is being our authentic. So we don't give a shit anymore. So let's just be happy in whatever way that looks like, you know? Uncensored happiness. Let's have it, you know?
I love it. I love it. Isn't there like there's a story, isn't there, about like someone that like cuts the meat a certain way and then puts it in the oven, and then like she doesn't understand why she does it, and then her grandmother did it that way, and her grandmother did it that way, and her grandmother did it that way, and then like years and years ago there was like a genuine reason for it. I wish I could remember the story now because it's quite pointless me telling it, but yeah, something like that. And we just like blindly accept these things. But yeah, it really feels like I can really feel this like resurgence of people coming up and actually asking those why questions now, and really challenge, and children that are being, you know, my niece and nephew, they ask that why, like why all the time. And I can really feel that resurgence of people coming up and challenging the norm, and you know, living our most authentic lives. Like it's happening. I can feel it happening. It's really amazing.
It's breaking the conformity and breaking the conditioning, isn't it? And it's such a good thing to be able to, I mean, look at schools, for instance, you know, it's just like, what have we been told? We've been told that this person stood in front of me, regardless of who they are, we don't know their background, anything. They're telling me these things and we're to take this as fact. And anybody who questions that, don't be smart. But no, I'm just asking questions. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how can that be taken offensively? But it's more because these people don't actually really know what it is that they're upholding here. It's because they've read it from books, and it says here that that's what we got told in university when we came to teach you all this stuff. Yeah, why? Like it's something that I'm going to tell Jesse to say more. Why? Ask questions. You know, always question everything. Why are we doing this? What is the true reason behind all this? And most of it, you get to the point, is to control us. You know, it's to manipulate us. It's so that they can, the powers that work and harvest our energy, who are all us in a different form of God, divine union, whatever you want to call it. So it's just like, so when you see that the game's a game as well, it's quite an interesting perspective to have on life, because then you don't take it offensively. You're just like, no, everybody's modeled up here. Nobody really knows. You know, and the people who are questioning things, they're the ones who are being cast out and said that, no, you've got to stay over there because the way you're thinking is dangerous. Yeah, the way you're thinking is actually dangerous to the system that all these almost pawns or unconscious beings are trying to uphold. But really, when you get down to it, they'd also be going like, yeah, hang on a minute, let's just look around and hang on a minute. Yeah, this doesn't make sense, does it? So like, always question everything. And that's kind of what I do on my TikTok, is just like, don't take whatever's being presented in front of you. Ask questions. Why? Why is this? Because it's only through that real deeper knowledge of whatever it is that we get out of the messy situation that we're in, the disharmonious. It's like kids being on, medication for whatever it is, all these sorts of things. You shouldn't be medicated. They're probably the ones who are seeing through the bullshit and going like, no, this doesn't make sense either. Oh, you don't you be smart and clever and cheeky and all this. It's like, Mum always said that to me when I was younger. And you get conditioned, oh, it's a bad thing to question because people aren't going to like me or whatever it is. Let go of that. To be your authentic self, you have to get used to people not understanding you and not liking you at the end of the day.
I love that. The thing you said about the medication, you've just prompted a thought I had. I was in the forest last week and I had this thought come through. It was about a friend's daughter who'd been prescribed medication for some things that she had seen that had been labelled as like a mental health condition. And I just suddenly had this moment and I stopped and I went, oh, she's actually very, very advanced, and what she's seeing is something very advanced. She actually has some incredible skills here and gifts. And then the 3D system has gone, right, that is mental health. We're going to medicate that. And I stopped and I reflected on this and I thought, wow, like how many gifts are actually like, this is like 5D expression of the world. Yet in the 3D expression of that, it's like, okay, this is mental health. So, I had this experience. I went to the doctors in 2018 with anxiety. I'd, tried everything else. And I thought, I'll go to the doctors. I was working in London at the time. So I'm super sensitive, that's my gift. And I was working in London, the hustle bustle, going in the buildings in London, all that toxic energy. And the doctor said, oh, we'll give you these beta blockers and they'll just like tone everything down for you so you can carry on doing your job. And I was like, and then I thankfully had that body truth moment of like, what the fuck? No. Sat in the car, ripped the prescription up and thought, no, like this wouldn't be here if it was not for a reason. Like I wouldn't have this experience. And it made me think about those children, like they wouldn't be having those experiences if it was not for a reason to do something with those gifts. But yeah, like the matrix label is, let's badge up with mental health, let's give a medication, let's numb that, let's, people numbing themselves with alcohol.
You're not normal. That's it.
Yeah, but actually there's this whole population of people that are having these incredible awakenings and we're kind of like numbing them down. So there's sort of like this, we've talked about kind of those that aren't meant to awaken, and then there's also this population and I feel like this is, I think this is kind of part of my mission to share this as well. It's like, this is not mental health, like this is your gift and it just needs to be used in that right way. So sort of a side thing there, but you just kind of sparked a channeling moment I had last week.
No, completely. And I read somewhere that the African countries and things like this and tribes, they came and looked at our culture and saw what we did to people with mental health, basically super sensitive people who are seeing what's going on, and they're defined by the 3D system as being not well, basically, you're going to unpin everything that we're trying to do here. So basically, these African tribes and things, they looked at our culture and they said, you medicate people with mental illnesses. No. These are your healers. You not understand that they're coming in and noticing the imbalances, being very sensitive to what's going on around them, and you're medicating them. These people need to be taken and praised and sort of like helped up, because they're the one. But obviously, the system doesn't want that, and that's why the advent of antidepressants have come in. And I know this because I've been on to antidepressants. I was on them for 6 months at the start of 2020, and it was like, because spirit, whatever, had decided, right, we're just going to get your health anxiety to a place where you cannot deal with it anymore. Didn't sleep for 3 days, felt I had pancreatic cancer, felt I had cancer in my hip, when really it was just all my trauma and stored energy in my hip, repressing loads of stuff and anger and all this stuff. And I thought I had cancer in my hip. So I went on to antidepressants for 6 months. Thank God that I did, because now I know what it feels like for other people who are going through this, and this numbing of your emotions. It blocks your serotonergic like receptors, so that you're just sat there. And like, I remember I was watching films and I was like, I should be crying at this. Like, it's got love in. I mean, like, I'm a weeping wetbag when it comes to love. Like, it's the thing that really, even now, I'm starting to well up. Like, it's because it's the purest, the most powerful energy in the world, and I can feel it in my heart center. When I'm sat there on these antidepressants, just like, what is going on? And of course, like, during that time on antidepressants, we conceived our daughter, you know, and I said categorically that I'm not going to be on antidepressants when my daughter is born, so I want to feel all of that. Do you know what I mean? It's so important. And so then I eased off them. Then I did DMT, and DMT just ripped back my entire story of what I thought I was. And I remember going downstairs after it and going, remember stood at the top of the stairs going like, oh my God, I know nothing. It's like I was reborn. I had died and come back. And I went down and just looked at the packet of pills and was just like, are you kidding? What? How could I? And I just threw them in the bin. I was just like, what? How could I even begin? There was no shadow of just like anxiety. Oh, maybe I'll need them in the future. It was gone. Come on. It's a story I'm telling myself about myself. My health anxiety, everything was cleared, you know. And since that, like, you know, I think that DMT is a really important place in people's awakening. But all what I got, the biggest like dump of download, if you want to call it, I got on that first one. And it showed me to be my true self, I have to go out there and I have to push the limits on what I think that I'm truly capable. What is my potential here? And from that, now I'm sat here with you doing things like this. And it's like, if it wasn't for that, you know, and if it wasn't for everything that had led up to my life at that point, which I'm eternally grateful for, that 10, 15 years of health anxiety, thinking I was dying all the time. It was a part of me that was wanting to die, and I just wasn't letting it. Do you know what I mean? Then it catalyzed in 2020. But like, I can't remember where I was going with that. But anyway, yeah, the antidepressants and things. No wonder society is pushing everybody onto these things. And what is it now? Like one in 7 people are on them. Yeah, no wonder, because everybody's starting to go, I'm not happy with my job anymore. I'm not really happy with my partner anymore. And that's why all the COVID stuff happened as well. Again, this is all divine. We're all looking, no, it's the dark beings who have been, it's all one thing working for itself. The harder the darkness pushes, the more we wake up, yeah? And it's just like, right, what can we do to make everybody go within, really look deeply at themselves? Are you happy with your partner? Are you happy with your job? So we'll give them like I can't even remember how long it lasted, or a 3-month holiday of, you know, people not and stuff like that. But you were locked down with the person who you said that you loved. Are you really in love with this person? Are you actually just attached to them? Do you like your job? Are you just attached to that? Oh, I've got all this freedom. Hey, life could be like this. Hey, am I really happy with this person? Do I really want to be doing what I'm doing? And did it make people go within? Fuck yeah, it did. Thank God, you know, thank God for it, you know. It's like, that's why it was there. And everybody's going, oh, it's terrible, isn't it? And all this happened and all the rest of it. Yeah, it was all made up. Let's face it. Do you know what I mean? And then everything that came after that was just like, right, we'll keep putting more fear at them and see how they respond to it. Are you going to respond? Are you going to go like, yeah, we're okay with this? Or we'll go, no, we're not all right with this anymore. And certain factions of society will go one way and certain factions of society will go another way. And it's just like, but each of those, it's just experience here. Do you know what I mean? And not everybody's at that soul level awareness of being at a place where they're able to look at that deep darkness within themselves or society. It's the same thing. What's happening out there is a reflection of how we see ourselves, you know? So it's just like, it's a beautiful process when you break it all down and look at it holistically, almost like overlooking the universe. And that's what DMT did for me. It was just like, it made me, I dissolved my character of what I thought I was, and I became the fabric of the universe. And when I came back into my body, it was like I could look holistically over everything of what was happening in the universe and going like, oh, very clever. Oh, cool. Right. Let's not take offense to any of this stuff anymore. You know what I mean? But is there darkness in the world? Yeah, of course there is, you know, but it's there to catalyze change within ourselves. But if you're not comfortable doing that at the moment, that's fine. You don't have to. We live in infinity. This goes on forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So do whatever you're comfortable of doing, you know, but make a choice based on your feeling, you know, and don't deny that feeling. I see a lot of people who are going, oh God, no, I can't go that way. You can, trust me. But once you get that connection to the divine or your true essence, if you want to call it that, then it becomes a lot easier because you realize that everything is happening for you. So it's a lot easier and you're a lot more comforted by that flow of energy, I guess, you know. And that's something that a lot of people who aren't connected to the divine or connected to their true self, they're going, you're crazy, you're mental, you're going to get yourself killed and all that, because they're still living in that place of fear, because they haven't recognized in their life all these uncomfortable situations that are trying their hardest to pull them into their highest, you know. So yeah, it's very interesting time. But yeah, it's great to look at it from that perspective, you know, and that's kind of what I do with people on the calls, is just go sit there and listen to what they're saying and go like, oh, there's an energy that I know how to transmute because this is what happened in my life. And that's all I can say is my interpersonal experience of my situation, experiences, life can then be filtered and help other people through this dark time, you know. And if I had a guy who helped me through my dark period as well, and I'm so grateful to him, and to think that I'm doing what he's doing for people now is fantastic, you know. Again, your darkness, your pain, your suffering is a gift for humanity. Just got to change the perspective.
I love that, Sam. Thank you. So much wisdom in there. I absolutely love that. So we are coming to the end of the podcast. I could talk to you forever, Sam. We'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you were to, this is a question I ask all my guests. So if you were to, there's been loads of wisdom on this already, but if you were to just say one thing that would be your top tip to being your most authentic self, what would that be?
Don't lie. Don't lie and let other people judge you. Because if they're judging you, it's only a part of themselves that you're intimidating or whatever it is. But don't stop being yourself for anybody, even if it makes, you know, if it makes them really uncomfortable and all the rest of it. It's okay, you know. Just don't be worried. Osho says it, you know. He's just like, I love like triggering people. I love like offending people. It's a good thing if you're doing that in your life, not intentionally harm, you know, going out there and being really manipulative and stuff. But yeah, just don't lie. Don't lie, and you'll find the truth, and the truth will set you free.
I can't lie to save my life, even if I try and do it as a joke. I can't,
No,
my face always gives it away. I'm like, I can't do it.
No, that's it.
Oh, I love that. So how I'll put your links and things in the show notes, Sam, but anyone listening, how can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on by TikTok or Instagram, Medicine Man Sam. I'm also on YouTube as well, very in the background on YouTube. I need to do more on that, but they're my 3, but mainly TikTok. You can reach out to me on TikTok, and on there, if you'd like to book a call with me or anything like that, feel free through my pen site as well, which is all linked in the bio and stuff like that. But Medicine Man Sam. Thank you very much, people.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. It's been an absolute honor having you. Maybe I'll put this on my YouTube. You can put it on your YouTube as well if you like, to kind of get your YouTube going.
Spot on.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Sam. I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. All right, Gemma.